Now, as you can see here, I have this handsome minor here. We get this minor here because mapping across at its essence is about accessing resources within yourself. That's the first step. Or facilitating your client, your direct report, your child, your prospect to access resources within themselves. So the first step of mapping across is about accessing resources. And the presupposition of NLP, by the way, this is a brand new thing that nobody really knows here probably, is that if you go to my perceptionacademy.com/courses page, you can get an hour-and-a-half long training on all of the presuppositions of NLP for free with the basic membership. So if you don't have that, you can get that for free, where I go in depth on all, I believe, 17 of the core presupposition, the beliefs that drive the NLP practitioner as a communicator, as a coach, as a self-actualizer. You can get that course for free just by a basic free membership on the site. So one of the presuppositions of NLP is that we all already have the resources within us that we need. That's the first time. We all have the resources within us that we need already. That means you do. That means everybody that you communicate to, anybody who asks you for advice, don't give it to them. Don't give it to them, especially if you're a coach. Ooh, what do you want to achieve in today's conversation? That's the well-formed outcome question. I want you to tell me what you think about my insert the blank, right? Do not give them the fish. Do not. It is disempowering to them. As soon as you give them the fish, there's a couple of answers that happen. One of them is, yeah, I know that, but, you ever get that before, right? You tell them and they go, yeah, I know that, but this conversation's not going anywhere, right? Scenario two, you give them the fish, you give them the answer. They go, well, that's good for you to do, but I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, right? That's scenario number two. Scenario number three, they tell you, can you give me advice? You give them the advice and they go, oh, that's horrible advice. I'm never asking you for anything ever again, right? Because they don't agree with your advice. Do not give them the fish. The presupposition here is that we all already have the resources we need within them. It's just a matter of putting on your mining cap, our guy here doesn't have it, and asking the questions to them to discover the resources within themselves for them to solve their own problems. When they solve their own problems, can they argue with you? They go, yeah, but no. Who found the answer? Whose is it? It's theirs. They take ownership over it. Of course, it fits in with their matrix because they generated it themselves with your facilitation. You facilitated them, but you didn't give it to them. You helped them to, and when I do that with clients, they thank me beyond all measure at the end. I usually check in. I go, so now that we've had this conversation, are you glad that I didn't give you, how do you feel about, what would you have said if I would have given you the answer that you had asked for? Ah, wow, like I'm so happy you didn't give that to me back then. What I have now is mine. I discovered it for myself. I created it for myself, and it fits. It fits for all of my life. Now bringing this back to mapping across, if we all already have the personal resources that we need within us, that means you do always. And so do they. You do always, and so do they. What does that mean? That means that your entire personal history. Did you know you have a hard drive? It's a database for my people out there of all of the memories and imaginations that you've had for your whole entire life. Did you know you have that? That's what your programming is consisted of. It's this database of all these movies in your mind that you've taken in through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your touch, and you database those. You save it kind of like a big YouTube channel. Not even a YouTube channel, like all of YouTube of your whole entire life. You've got all these videos there. And anytime you ask yourself a question or someone asks you a question, your eyes go up in your head some way or another, and you go inside to this database and you pull up a YouTube video just like you typed a search in YouTube. And it gives you all the answers, right, to your question that you asked. So if you go, what's wrong with me? It gives you like 500 videos about what's wrong with you. And you go with, if the question is instead, how can I solve this? You get 500 videos about how can I solve this? Is this resonating with you? So your entire personal history, what I'm asserting to you now is that your entire personal history and everybody else's is full of one thing and one thing only: resources and potential resources. Let's put it that way. It's just resources. All the good stuff where you've actually solved problems, where you felt good, where you felt calm, where you felt excited and energized, where you just accepted something even though you didn't like it, where you felt a strong sense of appreciation or love or compassion and understanding, or just trust that things will work out, or whatever resources that you want to access in your life now, right? That you've got all the good memories where you already have that, and we can go in and mine those. And then you've got all the problems, right? All the garbage, I was going to say a bad word there, the poo-poo, all the stuff that didn't work out, the things that happened to you, the decisions that you made when you were a little kid about those things that probably don't serve you very well, right? All that stuff is potential learning opportunities. It's just resources and learning opportunities. When you look at the world that way, now all of a sudden everything becomes resourceful, because all you've got is resources and things to learn from, and you can mine the resources out of that raw material. So what we're talking about here in terms of mapping across, what I'm talking about when I say mapping across, is about you. If we're talking about self-coaching or self-leadership, if you consider yourself a leader, or self-management, if you consider yourself a manager, is about going inside, finding your resources and mining them out and applying them in the present and in the future when you need them. So again, to kind of sum this all up, the point is that not when you have a problem that you don't have the resources to solve it. It's that you have the resources, you're just not accessing them where you need that. And so the skill of mapping across is learning about how to access those resources, which is part of state elicitation. That's the skill that we talked about earlier, being able to elicit states in yourself and others on purpose. It's part of calibration, being able to read yourself, calibrate your state, calibrate other people's state to make sure that it's working. It's about having rapport with yourself. If you're talking about yourself, or rapport with someone else to facilitate them through this process. As a leader, as a manager, you ever had a boss before who no matter what they said, you're going, I'm not listening to this person. I hate this person. They don't have any care about me or anything. They just want performance or results or whatever it is. So even sometimes you'll talk with other people who are, on the same level in the organization and talk about, create a little sect about how we're going to act out against this leader. So rapport is key in order to help people to access their resources and apply it in the situations where they need it the most, starting with yourself. And so that's the skill of mapping across. And this is the foundation of all change, let's say. So if you think about change as a structure, this is the foundation of change. So if you're having a coaching conversation, just to bring it back to coaching, because I know a lot of the people who are watching this are coaches or aspiring coaches, that we're facilitating change by not giving someone the fish, but facilitating them to discover their resources, to access them, and to apply them where they need it the most, again, starting with yourself. That's being in integrity. That's having self-leadership. That's practicing what you preach. That's leading by example. And so that's one of the core values of neurosemantic NLP. And I found it to be profound in my life in terms of having more integrity, in terms of feeling congruent in myself, in terms of having access to my own personal power, and to be able to get changes in myself first, rather than using these tools to get more sales or to, influence the people who are my direct reports or in my organization or in my family. Rather than trying to control them, I learned how to control myself, and somehow they learned that by watching me. That's what NLP is all about modeling.